Hello, so if you haven't seen my birthday stream VODs or seen any of my non-commentary gameplays, you might not know that I like competitive puzzle games, especially Tetris. So it's probably no surprise that I'll make a video reviewing this game as soon as I am able to play it. So that's what I'm gonna do. If you don't know the game is Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, which is a sequel to the collaboration between Tetris and Puyo Puyo. The sequel is one thing unexpected. Not only is the original game a couple of years old, but it also just came out of the blue. In this video, I'll be outlining my thoughts on the game on various elements like gameplay, stories, and basically just what I think about it. Now, just a disclaimer, this is just my opinion and they shouldn't be taken as fact. If you have your own opinion, that's fine. I would also like to give a mild spoiler warning since I would also be talking about the story and what I like about it. Oh yeah, according to nature statistics, one day on Venus is longer than a year. That's all. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the video. If you weren't listening to the introduction for some reason, Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is a sequel to the collaboration from the world-renowned game Tetris and the Japanese-praised Puyo Puyo. The game is essentially mixing both games and see what comes out of it, and it's pretty much an absolute masterpiece. Of course, since it's a sequel, you could expect a new story and new modes compared to the original. That's basically all you need to know about the game to pretty much understand this review. Now onto the next topic. Now, I'm not entirely sure about the gameplay if we're talking about what I think you might think of it. It's not like I find the game boring, it's just that from what I know, people can show this interest to puzzle games and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is no exception. But in my case, it's pretty fun. I find it satisfying to pull off T-spins or create chains. The visuals also add up to that fun factor. I also like how in online matchmaking, you could either choose for plain Tetris, plain Puyo Puyo, a mix between the two, or skill battles. I've heard Puyo players complain that they can't keep up with Tetris players, and I've heard Tetris players complain about how overpowered chaining is. So it's a good idea on Sega's end to give both of them their respective and separate leagues. The sound design is neat and clean and pretty much adds up to the experience for the game. It sometimes feels a bit messy, but it isn't really a big deal. The voice acting is also on point and feels natural. It doesn't seem forced or out of place. The music is also really good and well put together, but some can say it's a bit too jingly, but I enjoy listening to the soundtrack nonetheless. I'll list some of my favorites. Yeah, there's nothing else to say here if I'm being honest. It's practically just the same as any other game, and I can't find any unique use of sound effects, but it does the job pretty well. Now, if you didn't hear the introduction, I'll say it again. Mild spoiler warning. It's not that serious, but if you want to enjoy the story thoroughly, I'd advise you skip to the next chapter listed in the video description. For the people who didn't, let's continue on. But to be safe, I still won't talk much about the story. Now the story is quite decent, even if it's rather generic. I am still quite impressed that they can write a story out of a game where you pop 4 of the same or form a line with blocks. I mean, if I were given such a task, I would just collapse into a water droplet. Seriously, how did the writers even come up with this stuff? I would also like to add that it seems to have more depth than in the first game and probably a bit more dramatic too. It's not like that's anything wrong with it. In fact, I think it makes the story more enjoyable. That thing aside, I think the bits of comedy and other shenanigans are what make it enjoyable. Some examples are the introduction to Maguro.
Guys, this is Maguro. He's a fellow classmate and my childhood friend.
Hey everyone, I'm Maguro.
So he's an acquaintance of yours, Ringo? Then we should ask him to help us. Though, I'm not sure how to explain our rather complex situation to him.
Hey Maguro, let's have a Puyo battle. Right here, right now. And put your heart into it.
What? I don't think it works that way.
I think I get it now. So some mysterious guy shows up out of the blue and tells you that the world's in serious trouble, and now you, T, and his little yellow companion, O, are on a mission. A mission to find out who's behind all the bizarre stuff going on, but you don't have a single clue to guide you. Sound about right?
Yes, exactly.
Or this oddly specific laugh from S. I think with these in mind, it's safe to say that the writing team also actually enjoyed making the dialogue and the story for the game, and I for one can appreciate that. Now the game is great and all, but I think it's only fair that I also say some criticisms of this game. For one, some of the animations look kind of off. Don't get me wrong, they are well made and look pretty amazing, but what's going on with X? This is kind of a nitpick for the previous game too, but for the former Tetris King and now being responsible for holding both the Tetris and Puyo Puyo dimensions up and separate, I do not expect such a powerful being to wave his arms around while flowers come from. I don't know, but it just doesn't fit right in my opinion. Moving from animation, some flaws in the story is that everyone suffers from amnesia. I mean, this is later cleared up on why this is the case further in the story, but from a player that played the previous game, it's kind of infuriating having to go through the introductions again. There are also some reused audio from the previous game. They don't really serve a large impact to quality, but where they are most jarring is Z and I. Just look at these clips and you'll get what I mean. I'll also compare it with the all game so that you'll get the picture.
Now then, how interesting, beautiful, gorgeous, magnificent. Now then, how interesting, beautiful, gorgeous, magnificent. Vital scan, nutrition, vitamins, minerals, protein. Vital scan, nutrition, vitamins, minerals.
Now on to a different direction. There are also stuff like how the text and audio are not timed to end at the same time. Though this is not that bad, you'll get awkward silences like this.
4 or more of the same color match up, they vanish.
Couldn't have described Puyo's better myself. You really are sharp. And you've got some serious skills.
That thing can add up to the point of annoyance. That's why I manually scroll through the dialogue because it's much faster and eliminates the awkward silence. I also don't like the fact that there's no extra confirmation when skipping the cutscene. I don't want to skip any important plot points by accident. Overall, the game is good and basically a straight upgrade from the original. Even despite its flaws, the game is still very enjoyable. At least in my opinion. And for a sequel, it didn't disappoint or stray too far from the original. It feels like they just added over what's there and refined the features from the previous game. I wouldn't say I'd encourage you to get this game because again, not everyone likes puzzle games, but I'd at least recommend looking through walkthroughs of the game or just watch top tier players battle it out. Anyways, that's pretty much it. If you have your own opinions you want to share, feel free to comment it down below. And if you have any feedback that you want to give to me, whether it's about how I make my videos or some mistakes that can be corrected, you can comment it down in the video or email it to me at my email clydusoo@gmail.com. Any form of feedback is appreciated since I know it can help me improve. With that being said, farewell gamers, I'll see you later.